Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
What a pleasure to talk with Jeanne Stevens. She is an author, pastor, and speaker. She's got a brand new book out. It actually came out yesterday, and it's called What's Here Now? How to Stop Rehashing the Past and Rehearsing the Future and Start Receiving the Present. Jeanne, how are you?
It's so good to be with you, Rick and Dan. Thank you for having me. I am just thrilled to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here. You said you're in Chicago, but you lived here in Atlanta for 4 years in the Buckhead
That's
area.
right. That's right. I love the ATL. Went to many Braves games. So grateful for our years down in Atlanta, and still a special place in our hearts. But now we are in the Chicagoland area.
Awesome.
You founded a church. You're the founding pastor of Soul City Church in Chicago. Before we get into the important stuff, Cubs fan? Question mark?
Yeah. Cubs Sox. It is quite a rivalry here, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in a family that was from the south side of Chicago. So they, I came out of the womb and they're like, you have to be a Sox fan. But I became a Cubs fan over my
You
lifetime.
betrayed your family,
So
Jeanne.
I betrayed. I know. So yeah. I love the Cubs. I love Wrigley Field. This is a really fun little interesting fact about me. When I was in high school, I used to sing the national anthem at all of our sporting events, the basketball games and the football games. And a scout was there from, a bunch of the different sporting teams in the Chicagoland area and invited me to come sing at Wrigley Field. So it's one of my fun facts is that I, in high school, sang the national anthem at Wrigley Field. So I had to become a Cubs fan.
That is so awesome.
Wow, that is really, really cool. Yeah. That's amazing.
Love we know Chicago. A superstar, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun story. Well, I think my star went down. So.
Well, Jeanne, as we mentioned, is the founding pastor of Soul City Church in Chicago. Before that, she was on staff at Willow Creek, which is also in Chicago. Been there,
small church there in the Chicago area.
Yeah, been there a number of times,
right.
number of times over the years, and then North Point, just up the road from us. So, what got you back to Chicago? What was it besides calling that got you to plant a church called, which is a cool name, Soul City Church? How cool is that?
Yeah, we love our name. And really, I'll answer your question about all of my journey of getting there. But about the name of the church, we named it because we really realized that if transformation is going to take place in the heart and the mind and the soul of a person, it had to begin at a soul level. And so we long to help lead people into a transforming relationship with Jesus, where it just transforms their soul and hopefully transforms our city and the world. So that's where the name came from, and we love it. But yeah, as you mentioned, I was on the pastoral team at Willow Creek Community Church for 11 years, and I got to be a part of the North Point Community Church in Atlanta there and their pastoral team for a little over 4 years. And so I'm just so grateful for my 15-year collective history and experience in church work and being a pastor. And then my husband and I just kind of felt this, disruption from God. You said, other than calling, what got you to do this? I would say that God just kind of disrupted everything that was comfortable about our lives and invited us into a faith adventure of really stepping out in courage. And so we moved back to the Chicagoland area, downtown Chicago, with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And we started this church in our living room.
Wow.
And we just started gathering and meeting and praying. And over the last decade, it has mushroomed into this absolutely beautiful community, wildly diverse, people that are hungry to experience the transforming love of Jesus in an honest and authentic and real way. And it's just this beautiful, beautiful community that now gathers. We have a incredible campus in the West Loop of Chicago, which is one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in the country, and lots and lots of young people. It's a really young and vibrant and energizing church that I feel like I'm just the recipient of a beautiful movement of God. And every day I kind of pinch myself thinking like, I can't believe I get to be a part of this.
So at what point did you decide to stop cramming everybody into your living room and actually get a bigger space to fit everybody in?
Yeah, I love that question. I would say about 6 months into hanging out in our living room was not big enough. And we had just this miracle moment where we were praying and asking God to move. And a friend of a friend introduced me to a family that owned a warehouse in the West Loop of Chicago that was not rented at the time. And I remember asking him if there was any way that we could rent some space from him to start together as a church, and gave him a letter of intent with money that we did not have at the time. And he kindly said, I don't think so, but we'll be praying for you. And he came back to us about 3 months later, and I'll never forget, we sat in a Starbucks and he said, Jeannie, we've just been praying. Our family can't get the vision of Soul City Church out of our minds. And God has told us to give you the 22,000 square feet warehouse rent free for 2 years.
Wow.
He put the key in my hand, and it was literally like living inside of a miracle. Truly, that moment. And that moment shifted so much for our church, because we were able to have a home, have a space, and have a place to gather. And we started, meeting regularly, and had one service, and then 2 services, and then 3 services, and then 5 services. And we just could not fit all the people that were coming. And so over time, we were able to buy that warehouse, and then buy the 75,000 square feet of land next to us. And about 6 years into the story of our church, we built a 3-story transformation center in downtown Chicago. And now on a Sunday, there's probably a good 3,000 people that call Soul City Church their home. And it's just crazy that it started with a handful of people in a living room. And I always tell people, when God disrupts your life and you have those moments, because I think lots of times we have options in our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
God is never like, you have to go right, you have to go left. But there are those moments where it's not just an option, it's obedience. And I have a handful of them in my life. And Soul City Church is one of them. And I just knew that I knew this was walking in obedience to God. And I'm so glad that we said yes, because it is just a beautiful picture now of what it looks like when you say yes to the movement of God in your life. And I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of it.
What a story.
Love that. Jeanne Stevens is the founding pastor of Soul City Church in Chicago. And if you get a chance, check out the messages. The Mother's Day message I looked at yesterday, and just some really great stuff. I don't care if you're a mother, a dad, whatever. It's just a great word. Love that. But let's talk a little bit about what's here now. The latest book, which came out yesterday, How to Stop Rehashing the Past and Rehearsing the Future and Start Receiving the Present. That sounds easy, doesn't it? But it's very, very difficult. Is it difficult? Is it a gender thing? I always thought maybe it's just guys that are like full tilt boogie, but is it guys, girls? What's the deal?
I think it's all of us. I think we all struggle to be in this now moment. And, if you think about it, the kind of average lifespan of a person, hopefully we'll have a good 80 some years here on this planet, give or take, more, less. And, in those 80 years, often many of us, you look at the years and the months and the weeks, the hours, the minutes, so many of us are not really here, like here in the present moment, fully awake and alive, inhaling and exhaling the now moment. And I started to realize that for me, when I really paid attention to the fact that I struggle to be in the present moment, I started to ask myself, if I'm not here, then where am I? Right? And I realized that most of us, if we're not here in the present moment, we're either rehashing the past, we're trying to actually change something that we can't change, something that's already happened, but we're replaying it in our mind, we're rehashing it in our mind, or we're rehearsing something in the future. We're trying to control something in the future that we have no control over. And what God invites us is to be in this now moment. And the reality is that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. But the only place where you can experience God is in the present.
Wow.
You can't go to your past and experience God, and you can't go out to your future and experience God. The only place to experience and encounter the ever-present presence of God is in this now moment. I think it's why when Moses was talking to God and, the Israelites were frustrated and they were like, we're done with this hopefulness for the promised land. We just want a plan, God. We just want a plan as to where to go. And God says, as you go forward, my presence will go with you. And Moses says, well, listen, if your presence isn't with us, I don't want to go. And I think so many of us, we get stuck rehashing and rehearsing. We get stuck only asking God for a plan, only asking God for his promises. And God has always said to us, but it's my presence that I want you to experience. And when we experience the presence of God, we know that we can be in this now moment, whatever is occurring, even the challenging and hard circumstances that we may not have chosen for ourselves. We can be in this now moment because the presence of God is with us in this now moment. I like to tell people, listen, if you want to know God's address, if you want to know God's zip code, it's the present. The present is where God is. And it is our calling to get to this now moment so that we can experience the presence of God.
Great word for those who struggle with the what ifs and the if onlys and all that, and just keep trying to rehash stuff or try to change things that you're not going to be able to change. So great word. JeanneStevens.com is the website you can go to find out all the details. You can get the book on Amazon, and maybe a podcast sometime, Jeanne.
I would love to do that with you. Yeah. Oh, me do a podcast.
Yeah, you do a podcast.
You know, I have had a few people ask me if I'm willing to do that. And I need to get this book out in the world and into the hands of people.
Yes.
And if I take a long nap after that, maybe I will then consider doing a podcast.
Naps are a good thing. They are from God for sure. Yes.
Jeanne Stevens, founding pastor of Soul City Church and the author there, What's Here Now? Great book. Jeanne, would love to talk to you again. We got to go to a break. You're such a delight. Love your word. It's inspiring. It's a little uncomfortable because we have to change, but we appreciate your bravery. And wow, what a story you have in so many ways. JeanneStevens.com, a great place to go to. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.